Grill Sergeant here. What's going on, Grill Billies? Today we're doing a 6-month review on the Pit Boss Brunswick Platinum Series vertical smoker. We're going to be looking at the pros and cons of using this smoker for a heavy 6 months. If you're in the market right now for a vertical smoker and you're checking out the Brunswick and want specs on it, this is the perfect video for you. So let's fire up this bad boy and let's start the show. Now, before we start this video, full disclosure, I bought this Pit Boss Brunswick early November with my own money. Pit Boss did not give me this grill. This is just purely for your help and your information. Before I got the Pit Boss Brunswick, I did have the Pit Boss Pro Series 4. Absolutely loved that vertical smoker, and in many ways I'm very happy and pleased with this upgrade. Let's dive in. The first pro I really like about the Brunswick is the PID controller. Now, comparing this to the Pro Series 4, you have about 8 settings that you can control your smoker at, whereas the PID controller, you can get it from 150 all the way up to 420 in 10-degree increments. Now, you might be wondering, what does PID even stand for? Well, I fear you were asking that because, it's a tongue twister. It's proportional integral derivative. Mathematically, it looks like this. Unfortunately, I have no idea what that even means. But in layman terms, it's a very, very precise controller at keeping your temperature at very specific set temperatures. If I have this thing at 200 or 250, it stays pinned there. I've done tons of overnight cooks, and this thing is a set it and forget it type of smoker. I could set it at 200, 220, and then literally get a good night's sleep, and in the morning it is pinned at that set temperature. Pro number 2 that I love about this thing is the hopper pound rating. Researching different pellet smokers, it's very important to know the pound rating of the hopper. What that means is how many pounds of pellets can the smoker actually hold. What I love about the Brunswick is it can hold 98 pounds of pellets.
Damn, boy, he's thick!
Generally, the average amount that pellet smokers can hold, we're talking like, just the barrel shape, nothing too big and fancy. It's usually not more than 20 pounds. To think that this thing can hold 98 pounds of pellets, literally be smoking for months straight, and this thing will not run dry. It also does have a glass window on the side, so you can visually see how many pellets you have left in your smoker before you have to refill. I know what you're thinking, but what if I'm smoking and I have 40 pounds of a certain flavor or brand of pellets, and say I want to switch that out? You actually do have on the back of this thing a trap door. You can open it up and literally dump all the pellets out, and you can close it back up and you can refill it to whatever pellet you want to use. I will give you a pro tip, and it's not exclusive to the Brunswick, but if you have a pellet smoker, you need to get one of these bad boys. This is a pellet sifter, and it sits on top of a 5-gallon bucket, and before I put a fresh bag of pellets into the hopper, I will sift it first, and usually out of about a 20-pound bag, I'll get about 1 pound of debris that doesn't make it into the hopper. And I can say that after I started sifting my pellets, jammed augers and error codes are a thing of the past. So whether you get the Brunswick or you go with something else, absolutely should have this in your arsenal. I will put a link in the description so you can check it out. This is an awesome tool to help your pellet smoker run absolutely smooth. Now, a big pro with this smoker is how much space you get going vertical. Let's open her up like a butterfly. You have 4 racks that are 22 by 13 inches. You can load up brisket, no problem. This thing you can fit a ton in. Ribs, pulled pork, brisket, whatever you want to throw in it. Definitely a big enough rack space in here to kind of fit whatever you want to smoke. That is a huge, huge plus. All right, next pro is at the bottom of the smoker, and it is their ash clean out system. And with this, you can literally just take the ash clean out, you pull it out, and you can just dump the ash out, slide it back in, and your burn pot is completely clean, because the base of the ash cleanout system is the base of the burn pot. So that's pretty smart that, hey, I don't even have to open up the burn pot area anymore. I can pull this out, dump it out, put it back in, and I'm ready to rock and roll. That's pretty handy. Something I really like is the internal light. So having a light at nighttime is pretty handy. If you're doing an overnight smoke, it's gonna be dark as heck. So definitely having a built-in light is pretty handy. So now let's get into the cons of the Pit Boss Brunswick. Hopefully you have a lot of time because, no, I'm only kidding. First con of the Pit Boss Brunswick, it's always out of stock. I think I was pretty much the first one back in November to get this, and ever since then, every time I go on the Walmart site to either look at the specs or check out different reviews on it, I've never actually seen this thing in stock. It's like always out of stock. So you do have to do the whole thing, like put in your email, and then if it says, hey, it's available, dude, I mean, literally hop on it, because such a downfall of the Brunswick is a lot of people want it, and it is very hard to get. So Walmart, if you're watching this, just know a lot of people want this Brunswick, so help the people out. Another con about the Brunswick is the ash clean out system. Now I know what you're thinking, Grill Sergeant, you just said that that was a plus, that you could basically take it out, dump it out, call it a day, done. Super easy, right? The issue that I have actually with the ash cleanout system is the base plate metal is actually very thin. So a lot of people have commented, I've experienced it myself, that when it pretty much heats up for the first time, the metal, which is the base plate and the ash cleanout system, will actually warp up. When I'm trying to pull it out, be like, something's wrong because I cannot pull out this ash cleanout system. And it's because the metal warps and it sticks inside the unit. Now I did put out a video showing you how to fix this. You pretty much have to take a C-clamp, put it in the middle, and it takes the bow and bend out of that bottom plate of the burn pot, and then you can slide it in and out, and it's super easy.
That's what she said?
After about 6 months of use, it hasn't been a problem anymore. I could fire this thing up, literally run it, 24 hours straight, and it's still easy to take in and out. But for that initial burn off where you have to crank this thing up to like 400 degrees, it will warp on you. So if I could have designed this, I probably would have just put a thicker bottom plate, and that would have solved that issue. But that is a con in my book. Now another con with the ash cleanout system is when you pull the ash cleaning system out, there is a small chance that actually it doesn't get all the ash out of the burn pot. If the ash cleanout system is the base plate and you remove the base plate, in theory, everything should fall down. But what I found is there's sometimes where the ash itself that's in the burn pot can actually harden. I've actually looked underneath the smoker and you can actually see in place is ash still in the burn pot. Now the issue with that is when you put your ash catch back in and turn it on, you still have a layer of ash that's in there. So when pellets drop and your fire forms, your fire, which is usually supposed to be at the base of the base plate, is now actually raised up. And the very serious issue with that is if your fire now is raised up, there is a chance that now it's at the level of the auger, and if that flame is hot enough, that flame can actually start working back its way through the auger and get into the hopper, which is like, that's like a big red flag, no, you don't want that. It hasn't happened to me, and so just take a note that when you pull out the ash cleanout system, I don't know, give it a kick or something, but you do want to check to make sure that that ash is actually completely out. If you put your hand under and give it a good smack, that should actually break everything down, but that is something you do want to take a note of. Another con is the heat up time on the Brunswick. Now this is just comparing the original Pro Series 4 that I had, but this thing does take a lot longer to heat up. Now it is twice the size and weighs about 4 times as much, so that's probably what it is. To give you a real world example, if I wanted to heat this thing up to 250, it usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour. That's pretty long.
That's what he said.
But once it's there, it's dialed. So not the end of the world for me. I usually do overnight cooks anyway, so this thing is just, I'd rather have it pinned and not worry about it, but It is something to think about. And the last con that I can think of is this unit produces very little visible smoke. Now, mind you, if I leave it on 150, if the smoke setting, which is the lowest amount, you'll get lots of visible smoke out of this thing. But once you crank it past like 225, there is little to no smoke on this unit. I'm only comparing that with the Pit Boss, the Pro Series. That one was not a PID controller. So the temperatures did fluctuate a little bit more on that, but I definitely saw a lot more smoke on that machine than this. Now, as far as smoke rings go, this thing is perfect. But to actually, you know, have your smoker on and see like tons of like billowing clouds, you're not going to see that. That would probably be the last of the cons. Now, a workaround to that is you can get smoke tubes, and they're basically tubes that you can fill with pellets. You can light one end of it, throw it in there, and that's going to give you plenty nice white thick smoke. That being said, that was the pros and cons. And if I were to sum it all up, I absolutely love this smoker. This thing is a beast. For the majority of the things that I've smoked, I've literally run this overnight and I sleep like a baby, and the smoker does do the heavy lifting. If there's anything I forgot in this pro and cons list and you're like, hey, I have a question about the smoker, do leave a comment. I would be happy to answer it for you. And better yet, we do have a Facebook group, and even though it says Pit Boss Platinum Series owners, it's pretty much open to any type of people that have any type of smokers. It's pretty much the community where we all hang out and share different cooks and tips and tricks. I will post a link in the description. Do check out the Facebook group. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, do hit that subscribe button. We are a barbecue community. You'll learn a ton of backyard barbecue tricks and tips here. And other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Grill Sergeant out. Cheers.